Alright, and so this is going to be episode number 16 of the TheHapaPodcast, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming UFC fight this Saturday between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje, plus the co-main event between Robert Whittaker and Jared Cannonier, and then we're going to be covering why Fraiser is the greatest television show of all time, and Hubie Halloween, that new Adam Sandler movie out on Netflix. So, first off, we'll start with the co-main event, or we'll do the main event. The main event for this upcoming UFC fight on Saturday between Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is 28-0, and Justin Gaethje, who's like, I don't know, 17-3 or something. I mean, basically what I'm getting at here is it's like Rocky IV. It is exactly like Rocky IV. The undefeated Russian, right, is coming in, he's just dominating everybody, beating the shit out of people. And then you have that American underdog, Justin Gaethje, and he's flying all the way across the world, maybe not to Russia, but he's going to Abu Dhabi on Fight Island, and I think he's the one to take the lightweight title. I thought that it was going to be Tony Ferguson, because Tony Ferguson has unbelievable cardio. He attacks with a lot of elbows from the ground, bottom position, so that means if someone is in his full guard, half guard, side control, he is constantly striking with elbows, because when you're on the ground, if you're on your back, usually you're getting damage done to you, and the judges kind of see it as the top fighter, the fighter in top position is controlling the majority of the action. They're going to give the round to them. However, in the case with Tony, because of his unbelievable jiu-jitsu when he trains with Eddie Bravo at 10th Planet, his elbows and all that, just his endurance, his overall chin, I thought he was the guy to do it. But then Justin Gaethje comes in as a late-minute replacement when Khabib couldn't make it to Fight Island. He stayed in Dagestan. And Justin Gaethje came in and beat the fuck out of Tony Ferguson. Tony dropped him at the end of the second round with an uppercut where you see both Justin and Tony are going in for an uppercut at the same time. However, Tony's landed first, hit Justin clean on the chin, knocked him down. And that's where you see the major adjustment between Justin Gaethje prior to that third round in his fight with Tony Ferguson, and what he did in the third, the fourth, and finished Ferguson in the fifth. Those next three rounds are a perfect indicator of how great Justin Gaethje's coaching is. His head coach is Matt Whitman, who was the longtime trainer of, trying to think of his name. He fought Brock Lesnar. Shane Carwin. Shane Carwin had heavy-ass hands, doing all this, being trained by Matt Whitman. He became UFC heavyweight champion because of Matt Whitman, or partly because of Matt Whitman. And what Matt Whitman told Gaethje between that second and third round was he told him, take 10% off your shots, so don't throw haymakers like he does and he gets wild. That's how he got knocked out by Poirier. That's how he got knocked out by Alvarez. He just got wild. He overextended on his punches, and that left his chin open, susceptible to the knockout. Which, I mean, with 4-ounce gloves, it can happen. You can catch somebody on the button, especially at heavyweight. But what I'm trying to get here is seeing that third, fourth, and fifth round. Gaethje was playing the counter striker. He wasn't going in trying to move in on Tony. Tony is a pressure fighter. So really, Gaethje waited for Tony to come to him, and he would do short uppercuts, short left hooks too, because Gaethje is an orthodox fighter, and Tony was a southpaw. That opened up a lot of those left hooks that Tony didn't see coming, really, because it's over his other hand. Just seeing all kinds of things like that, and the adjustments that Justin Gaethje made were spectacular. And I think he's going to beat Nurmagomedov. Justin Gaethje was a great collegiate wrestler, and his only problem, or only thing you really don't see out of him so far in MMA, from his time in the World Series of Fighting to his time in the UFC, was Justin doesn't have a lot of offensive takedowns. By what I mean by that is maybe in the scramble he'll get on top position, he'll be able to scramble in when someone else is taking him down, but primarily he stands and bangs, and waits for his opponent to try to take him down, because Justin's hips are so flexible. He's able to do that in the open space. He's able to kick his leg out. He's able to turn his hips. He's able to get the underhooks in. He's able to shake his opponents off and leave them standing with Justin Gaethje, who kicks like a fucking mule. Those leg kicks battered Tony to where Tony couldn't walk. Leg kicks, I mean specifically the calf kicks, not to the thigh, but where he's kicking his calf, preventing the foot from being able to press off the mat into a forward motion. And Justin Gaethje, I feel like he's gonna win. Khabib is great, but we saw he got in trouble with Dustin Poirier in his last fight when Poirier hit the guillotine on him. And I mean, Khabib has a very strong neck, I assume, because I don't know how he made it out of that guillotine, but he did. Goes on to choke out Poirier in the third round by rear naked choke. However, I think because of the coaching, this isn't, I feel like Justin Gaethje with Matt Woodman in Colorado, he gets the one-on-one attention. He's been training with welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, who's a great wrestler, does a lot of the same things Khabib does in terms of style of fighting. He doesn't throw a lot of volume at his opponent. He doesn't throw a lot of jabs, a lot of things to set up kicks. It's more one shot, an uppercut. He knows, and his opponent knows, that the goal for Nurmagomedov is to press him into the cage, grab their legs, pull him out from under him, get the back, get in the hooks, sink in the choke. Hooks are what people's legs, they go in over someone and you clamp them in inside of their hips so that way their legs can't go over and wiggle out of the chokes. And I think Justin, just with his coaching, he is going to be focusing so much on staying away from the cage. And let me read. He's got to stay away from the cage. But by that, I mean, he doesn't want, I mean, maybe he wants Nurmagomedov with his back close to the cage, but Gaethje wants his back away from the cage. In the octagon, there are these lines, and there's two sets of them. So there's one inner and one outer set of black lines that shape the octagon. And usually when people are outside those lines, not inside them, and more towards the center of the cage, when they're outside them and they're fighting Nurmagomedov, Nurmagomedov will throw a punch or a shot or a kick. He'll just throw something, get the fighter's hands up, and then Nurmagomedov, with a lightning fast double leg, shoots in, grabs the legs, pulls up, picks up and dumps the body, hops on. So I think if Gaethje can use his leg kicks, use his check hooks, and use his lead uppercut, his strong hand, not his strong hand, but his lead uppercut, not the lead. So he's gonna want to punch with, he's gonna want to uppercut with his right hand. He's gonna want to throw check hooks with the left, and he's gonna be wanting to throw a lot of leg kicks at the calf of Nurmagomedov, because I think that the sooner Gaethje can take the legs out from Nurmagomedov, okay, you can try the gas tank. You can do that. You can try the gas tank, and that's not a bad idea, because we've seen Khabib took off a round, I think in round 3 against McGregor. And that's the round McGregor won over Nurmagomedov, the only round someone's really ever won against Nurmagomedov. And I think he's gonna get tired. Nurmagomedov's gonna get tired eventually. I wouldn't see it happening in the first 3 rounds. This guy's been fighting 5-round fights for years now. I mean, he's conditioned to at least 3. However, if Gaethje can start taking the legs out, and by legs I mean calf, if he can land a lot of calf kicks, kicks to the knee, where it's gonna hurt to bend his knee, if it's gonna hurt Nurmagomedov to bend his knee, that's how Gaethje wins, I think. Taking out the legs. You take out the base from under Nurmagomedov, that takes away the shot. It doesn't take away necessarily the fear or just kind of anticipation for a takedown attempt by Nurmagomedov. But what it's gonna do is kicks the calf a couple times. The legs, I mean, unless he checks them, they really don't heal well, and it affects fighters' movement drastically. The faster he takes out the legs, the faster it means that if Gaethje does find himself in a predicament where his back is on the cage or close to it and Nurmagomedov goes in for the shot, how fast will the shot be and how strong will the shot be if one of his legs, maybe both, but if one of his legs is compromised and he can't push off that leg. He can't push off because he's an orthodox fighter. You see him, he throws with his right and his left, he throws a check left. And you see the knockdown he had against McGregor in round 2 of their fight. He really loaded up and threw it, and he plants hard on his lead leg, which is his left leg. And when he plants, he kind of throws his head down, ducks under, he throws a big overhand right, knocks down McGregor. But if you take away the leg, he's not going to be able to turn on it. He's not going to be able to press up onto the ball of his foot or onto his toes. He's not going to be able to pivot. He's not going to be able to get the torque into that hook. It's going to take away a lot of stuff. And I think Justin Gaethje wins by knockout or technical knockout round 4. That's my prediction. Now, moving on to the co-main event, we're going to have Robert Whittaker, former middleweight champion, and actually a former UFC welterweight as well. He moved up a weight class after the welterweight was getting too difficult. And across the cage from I cannot wait is the killer gorilla, Jared Cannonier. And if you don't know, Jared Cannonier used to be as short as 4 years ago, little 4 years ago. In 2016, Jared Cannonier was a heavyweight in the UFC. Then he lost the weight, dropped down to light heavyweight. He started noticing his nutrition and all this other stuff is playing a key role into how he performs. And so he loses even more weight, and now he's just shredded at 185. He's fucking phenomenal. We saw Anderson Silva's leg. He got a fractured tibia and fibula where his leg wrapped around Chris Weidman's leg in their rematch and fractured his leg. Yeah, well, that was from Anderson kicking Chris. Don't get me wrong. If you kick a leg check, it's going to hurt. But Jared Cannonier broke Silva's leg, not by checking it. He just slammed that big tree trunk of a fucking thing right into it, bang, and dropped Silva. Jared Cannonier demolished Jack Hermansson, who is being hyped up as the next person to fight Israel Adesanya after Costa, because Jack Hermansson's on a long win streak. He just got through Kelvin Gastelum in the first round. By, I think it was a knee bar. And it was just kind of like, fuck. Jared Cannonier, if he can get through Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker just beat Darren Till a couple months ago in a 5-round fight, which I would have liked to see what would have happened if Darren Till hadn't torn his, a ligament in his leg. I believe it was his MCL in the second round or first round. It was early on. But he dropped Whittaker with an elbow. And I go, Whittaker seems to bounce around a lot. He moves. Jared Cannonier stands up very straight, has a very, it's like a Muay Thai style stance almost. He has his elbows tucked in, his hands up to his face, covering his cheekbones, covering his the mid portion of his ribs, which leaves the bottom part of his gut, well, not really even a gut anymore, he's not a heavyweight, but his stomach open, which could maybe leave him open to the takedowns by Whittaker, to uppercuts by Whittaker, to body shots by Whittaker. Whittaker likes to move in, move around, likes to throw in leaping punches. He likes to kind of lean. If you noticed in his fight, especially against Israel Adesanya, but his fight against Darren Till, Robert Whittaker throws, however, he leads with his head. So when he throws, his head is coming out a couple inches in front of his hands, or whichever hand he's throwing, and then the hand will pass his face. So it's not like he stands back and he throws it, it's boom. So he's leading in with a lot of momentum that can be beneficial in the sense of it increases the power, the amount of impact that he can create, the amount of pressure from his punch. But what it does is it leaves his chin and his face, his temples, his chin, and the back of his head open to strikes because they're not being blocked. And because you're coming in, if you get hit with a counter strike, it's going to be that much harder because your momentum is then colliding with their fist or their shin or their foot or their elbow. Either way, I think Jared Cannonier is going to fuck up Robert Whittaker. as long as he can stay off the ground. And I say that because I think Robert Whittaker's going to look for the takedown against Jared Cannonier. I think he's going to look to take, almost like the Nurmagomedov-Gaethje fight. I think Whittaker's going to stand and bang. He's not a pure wrestler, but he's going to want to stand and bang, and then I think he's looking to take down Jared Cannonier and submit him. Jared Cannonier, on the other hand, I think he's just looking to stand up, throw leather, and he's going for the knockout. I mean, I don't think he would go for the submission. I mean, I'm sure if the opportunity presents itself, Jared Cannonier could sink in a choke or grab a limb. I don't know. But I see Jared Cannonier winning first round knockout. I think he's going to open up, throw a couple leg kicks, but he's going to be doing a lot of hooks and a lot of straight hands. I don't think he's going to get too wild, like throwing some haymakers or some very heavy overhand punches. And I don't think he's going to be aiming for head kicks, but I think he will aim for the legs to take out the movement because, you know, Whittaker's he has great movement in the cage. And I think that, yeah, just as long as Cannonier stays off the ground, at least from the bottom position, and can stand up, keep it standing, keep Whittaker in range, keep Whittaker pressured so he doesn't have a weight, cuts off the cage on Whittaker, and I think Jared Cannonier is going to surprise a lot of people, get the next middleweight title shot, and he's going to knock out Robert Whittaker in the first round. Alright, so, moving next. Oh yeah, shout out to my friend Takuma. Met him at San Francisco State, went to college with him. He's back home in Tokyo, Japan, but I just wanted to shout him out because Takuma's the G. And yeah, yes sir. Thank you very much for supporting the YouTube channel, and I appreciate you, bud. Alright, so, moving on to Fraiser. Why is Fraiser the greatest show of all time? Well, I'll tell you why. Let me find this writer. Gotta go onto my phone. Writer for Fraiser. So Fraiser is a spin-off. Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, Christopher Lloyd. If that doesn't sound familiar to you, he's the guy that won all those awards on Modern Family. You know, knocked it out of the park on Modern Family. And so he was so back in 1993, Fraiser started, and Fraiser is about it's a spin-off from the show Cheers. Cheers is a show. It's based in Boston. It's a bar, and these all people come around, you know, that place where everyone knows your name, dun, 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 dun. And it has all these people. Woody Harrelson's in it, all kinds of people. Ted Danson's in it. Ted Danson's really awesome in The Good Place. But also Jennifer Tilly, I love her. She was in that a couple times. But anyways, Cheers is a spin-off of the character Frasier Crane. Frasier is the spin-off show of Cheers for the character Frasier Crane. He moves to Seattle. He's a psychiatrist, but he has his own radio talk show. So, be like a podcast. But it's on the radio, and he goes, hello, Seattle. I'm listening. I'm Frasier Crane. And it's so dope because Kelsey Grammer, his voice, and especially his hair in the first season. He's balding on top, but his hair is all poofy in the back. And he's just so energetic, and it's pretty funny. He and his brother Niles Crane is also a psychiatrist. And they're both very, I guess metrosexual? I don't know. They both, hello, Frasier. Oh, hello, Niles. And they're kind of like weird, but they're funny. Frasier is a bachelor. He's not married anymore. He divorced his wife Lilith, but, you know, they still have the kid, back in Boston. And Niles is married to, he married into money with this rich lady named Maris, and her family is very famous off of, like, toilet wipes or some shit. It's, like, ridiculous, but it's a great sitcom, and the writing style is so similar to that of Modern Family, because when they look around, like, Frasier has a laugh track. Modern Family doesn't. But Frasier has it, and you'll see him like when he looks over like, ugh, or like the dog, his dad Martin, he has, his best friend is his dog named Eddie, and Eddie constantly stares at Fraiser, and he's just like, Fraiser's like, ugh, Eddie, stop staring at me. And it's just wild shit. If you have time, check it out. It's on Hulu. Best fucking show ever. Like 7 primetime Emmys. Joey Badass even talked about it on Mr. Robot. It's like, Fraiser. Man, it's like, it's a good show. And another show, or movie, in fact, that's pretty good, now out on Netflix, is Hubie Halloween. Now, people probably saw that one. Oh, bruh, it's that special needs guy, Adam Sandler. Can you tuck in like me? And it's pretty funny because he plays, I like it. It's classic Adam Sandler, like the stuff I used to watch as a kid, like Happy Gilmore and Waterboy. There's tons of Easter eggs, like clues and little tidbits that they took from other Happy Madison movies, like in Hubie Halloween, they have this little redhead kid named O'Doyle, and if you don't remember, O'Doyle is the name of the family name of that redheaded bully family from Billy Madison, who always go, O'Doyle rules! And, you know, O'Doyle is now terrorizing Hubie, and they actually throw bags of dog shit, which people would go, okay, bags of dog shit on Halloween, yeah, that makes sense. But in the same movie as O'Doyle, Billy Madison would get drunk with his adult friends, you know, their 30-year-old asses, 38 or whatever, getting faded as fuck on a weeknight. And what did they decide to do? They decide to go around to all the houses, ring the doorbell, and light bags of dog shit. So they step in the dog shit. And so they're just throwing them at Hubie while he's riding on the bike. And there's all kinds of people in there. There's Maya Rudolph. They have Steve Buscemi. They have David Spade. They have basically every single person, even Shaq from all the other Adam Sandler movies. And it's so cool because it's a throwback. And you get to see all these things and it's like, oh, I remember that. Oh, and the whole time it's this well-written, Halloween-themed Adam Sandler movie. It's fantastic. And his name is Hubie Dubois, and kind of sounds like this, hi, I'm Hubie Dubois. It's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, Adam Sandler's baby voice is hilarious in this movie. And they even had the scene, because his neighbor goes, oh, wow, that's a cool ghost decoration. And, like, Hubie looks over, and it's the bedsheet from Waterboy, where he pisses his bed. And, you know, Mama, she's like, well, you know, Bobby Boucher, he pisses the bed. He goes, Mama. And then Vicky Valancourt, you know, looks up, and she's like, oh, and it's not even white on the sheet. It's all yellow. It's like this giant yellow circle. And so he's like, yeah, that's a nice ghost. And it's like, it's full of laughs. Great movie. And I think it's like even #2 on Netflix, like movies or net trending bullshit. So, alright, that's going to do it for today's episode 16 of the HapaPodcast. Also, check out episodes of Baking with Buddha, same channel, basically same place. It's basically me in a hat, and I got my pal Buddha here, and we just bake shit, make treats, cook food. People usually hear Baking with Buddha, and they go, oh, it's going to be about weed, but sadly, I've had to inform a few people that there haven't been any weed edible episodes yet. The first episode, the Doughboy cookies, I had at least 5 people message me going, oh, what kind of cookies are they? Like, oh, I see you're making cookies. But what kind of cookies? Cookies or cookies? And no, it's just regular cookies, you know. You buy them at the store, you cut them, slap that shit on a tray, and bling, you're done. So, alright, well, I'll check y'all later. Probably do another episode Friday, so in 2 days. Do another one right before the UFC event, maybe do one Saturday. I'm going to be doing a special Baking with Buddha on Saturday. We're going to be doing a s'mores episode, so there'll probably be some more of that stuff, and tune in. Alright, check you later. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye.